All right. Hi, everyone.
Hands.
We're here. This is your virtual start party for the 9th of February, 2014. I'm your host, Scott Lewis. Fraser Cain is off fighting crime in Canada. No, he's got a flight going out. So he's going, I believe, to see Brian Brushwood in Austin. So, hello, Shwood. Give him some beers and give him free tuition to scam school.
Go to Salt Lake.
Yes.
Go to Salt Lake.
Gay.
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. Just say that more. Say it.
What?
Camera's on you. Say it.
Salt Lake! I love that place. Anyway.
So, we're going to be completely professional and not silly at all tonight because whenever Nicole and I are together, it's always serious business. So, if you guys have never seen our show before, what we do is we get astronomers from across the world and we hook up telescopes to their cameras, whether it be webcam or even higher quality professional cameras, and we stream them live into Hangout on Air. And we have with us Nicole Gallucci, which is our PhD astronomer. We'll be helping explain the science behind all the beautiful images that we are looking at. Joining us, and then we'll be going through here, Chris is one of our astronomers. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Morning. How you doing, Internet?
Yeah, you're from the UK, right?
Yeah, the accent kind of gives it away.
Well, hey, you
and
can
the good morning.
And the good morning bit.
Yeah, it's going to be early there.
So whereabouts are you?
In sunny Mansfield, -3 degrees and freezing my bits off.
Yeah. Freeze that collimator off. Gotcha. All right. Next with us we have David Dickinson in the slightly warmer area, but not too much tonight.
Yeah, not too bad. I have my hairdryer ready.
Hey.
Nice.
So do I. I've got to really tease this.
And I think you can see my heater running back here, so it's a little cool here, not chilly, but.
Very good. We also have James, the evil-looking Blair Witch Project.
Yes. Yes.
That's creepy. James. Hi, James. And we're going off camera. Also, we have Tom Nathe. How you doing, Tom?
Oh, fine out finally.
Are you ready to be serious?
Oh, I'm always serious.
Always serious.
Yeah,
like
always serious.
the dog star.
Yes.
Very good. Awesome. So I will let everyone know you can reach us many different ways. Please give us some comments, questions, requests on the Google Plus. I have another monitor up right here for Google Plus event page. Also, leave questions on YouTube. Nicole is checking those out. We're also on Twitter at _VSP, and there's a Facebook page as well that I have this up on. But really, what are you doing over there? Come join us because it's Facebook. So. Hey,
We're not elitist at all here.
At all. That I put on Facebook because I have to. So I'm going to head over to David, and what are we looking at, David?
Oh, we're looking at a blurry view of Jupiter right now. I think the dew is getting the better of my telescope right now. I may have to clear it off.
We'll make it a don't and clear it up.
Yeah, I'll mute real quick so you don't have to hear the hairdryer.
Awesome. So you do that. I'm going to hop on over to Chris because Chris has something really cool. We have Mars.
Oh!
It's Mars.
Oh my goodness.
It's a red fuzzy blob that's bouncing around on the screen.
Oh!
So, what time is it over there? It is, what, 2:30?
2:30, yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning. Coming at you from the future.
From the future, with Mars in the future. So, what telescope are you using there, Chris?
An 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope with my 2x Barlow on the back of it. So it's got a decent focal length on it, but I'm shooting through clouds, so no amount of zooms are going to fix that.
Yeah, Mars reaches opposition on April 8th, so it's going to be its best viewing for 2014 here this spring.
And if you guys can, hang around for the next 2.5 hours, I can give you Saturn really early.
I'm not that much of a trooper, but you can do it. Now, we're really excited for Saturn to come around.
Wow.
This opposition to Mars isn't the greatest, but it's getting better every 26 months or so. Mars comes into opposition, and the opposition in 2016 is going to be better, and the one in 2018 is going to be nearly as good as. Remember the one in 2003 that was the best opposition in 50,000 years that kept going around the news.
Yeah, it was as big as the moon.
Yeah.
I know.
that's
How could
that's
you
every
miss
August
it?
now.
Yeah.
Super Mars.
Oh no! Don't.
No,
No.
no.
We are not doing Super Mars.
It's coming. So
It-
I'm
it
feeling
is.
Photoshop there.
Then we need to also coin mini Mars, and we'll be fine with it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hop on over to James's view real quick. Oh, nice. So what are we looking at?
It's amazing that right when the broadcast started, the clouds come in, of course.
Well, yeah, because you want to do
That's
something.
their job.
But yeah, just looking at the moon through my this is just a Nexstar 6SE Celestron telescope and a Canon 6D attached to it.
Very nice. So
shooting
where are
through
you
the
from,
clouds.
James?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama. Is a little bit warm. Is a little warmer than the rest of us here tonight, right?
I don't know. It's probably about 35, I think, here.
35. Wow.
It's above freezing. Yeah,
It
you're
is
fine.
above freezing. Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
I'm the only privileged one here tonight in Los Angeles. I'm complaining because it's 16
Yeah,
Celsius
it's-
out.
Oh, shut up.
-4 here right now.
Oh man.
I
So,
had to
David-
cancel my first viewing of the semester because it was so damn cold. I didn't want my visitors to get frostbite, so
Why not?
yay, winter.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm of astronomy.
I know, but people bring little children, so, you know.
Just throw them on the fire. Oh.
We do not
Oh, we're
need the
talking?
children's in the VSP.
I shouldn't have said that. My apologies. I was a bad boy.
Tom,
It wasn't me this time.
I know. I mean, Nicole and I are bad enough when it comes to being completely off topic, and
Not to mention, the fire would make the scene worse for your
It would.
telescope. Because
it would. So think
because
of
of all
the
the
scene.
hot air.
Don't think of the
It's not
children.
about the children, it's about the
Right.
scene that you're
Oh,
destroying.
somebody think of the scene.
Yes, exactly. So back to astronomy real quick, as James's view of the moon is going away. David mentioned something earlier before we went live about the moon that was really interesting, and
Oh.
I thought it was awesome.
Oh, the moon happens to be in the non-zodiacal constellation of Orion tonight, which is kind of weird. There's actually
Ah.
six non-zodiacal constellations the moon can cross through, and let's see if I can remember it. It's Auriga, Orion, Ophiuchus, Crater, Corvus, and I believe Scutum is the other one that the moon
Isn't
can. actually-
Ophiuchus
Wow.
Zodiac really in the Zodiac now?
It's along the ecliptic, but it's not one of the
Yeah.
12. It's not one of the 12
It's
constellations.
the
of,
evil
of,
13.
Along the ecliptic. Let's
Yeah, the ecliptic, the sun passes through 13. So, but the moon, the tilt of the moon's orbit is 5 degrees relative to the ecliptic, so it can wander about 10 times its diameter away. So it can wander into Orion occasionally. So I think that's kind of cool that it's. Oh,
yeah, so if that's the plane of the Earth going around the sun, and then the moon's orbit's going to be
Those are cards. That's not
by
a plane.
5 degrees. Shut up. It's going to be off by 5 degrees, which I can't quite do 5 degrees because it is quite small, but
Well,
Right.
I-
But when
I'll
we're
try,
talking
it's
about
exaggerated.
distances like the moon, we're talking
Right.
quite a big distance there.
yeah.
Oh,
What-
Sextans is the other constellation I just remembered that it can be in as well. That's not on the ecliptic, but the moon can pass through it.
That's pretty far southern, isn't it?
It's just south of Leo, constellation
Okay.
Leo. It can nick like the corner of Sextans.
Okay.
Weird stuff that's in my brain.
Yeah,
David has a lot of stuff in his brain.
That's
I
okay.
have my moon map up, and the area that we're looking at is part of the Clavius and Tycho region, the southern pole of the moon.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome.
I noticed that the area that the U2 rover is in, the Bay of Rainbows up there, is just getting sunlight again. The sun is rising there again tonight.
Oh, the Jade Rabbit?
So
Yeah.
we think we're gonna hear from the rover?
I don't know,
Yeah,
but its solar panels should be just getting the first hits of sunlight right now. So
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
noticed-
do we have any updates? You know, the last, and I don't know if everyone knows that China does have a rover on the moon, which is, I think, all sorts of awesome. But there's been a little bit of a problem with it. And have you been following the media from China?
I I saw Patrick Stewart wearing a rover outfit on the Daily Show the other day.
Yes, that was amazing.
What?
So, as we often do, we anthropomorphize different objects. Curiosity, and the Chinese media government has also done the same thing with Jade Rabbit, and so it's tweeting that it might not come back to life after this lunar day comes back around because of these malfunctions. And if you haven't seen, I think it was about 4 days ago, Jon Stewart on the Daily Show had a bit about it, and Patrick Stewart was dressed up as...
that was a riot.
Oh,
Yeah, but
That's
I really do hope that the rover comes back online. I think it's awesome that we are still having something active going on the surface of the moon, no matter which country it comes from. I think that's really cool.
absolutely.
Save you two.
Save you two. So we're gonna head over to David's view. We're looking at the fuzzy Jupiter again.
Yeah, it's a little fuzzy. It's a little turbulent. We have the Great Red Spot actually turned forward. I've been tracking it here for the last few hours. It's on one of the on the upper cloud band. My left, it would be the viewer's right, because I know it inverts it on this there. So
Okay.
and I always thought the Great Red Spot was kind of a misnomer because it looks more kind of brick brown to me than
Right.
red.
The dirty brown spot just doesn't sound good for marketing.
Yeah, it goes anywhere from kind of salmon colored to kind of a brownish. I've never seen it look like cherry red before.
Yeah,
so.
me neither.
Is it thought
I
that
have,
was it redder?
Nicole,
Was it redder
I love you.
400 years ago?
It has changed. I know Bob King did an article on Universe Today that it has changed shape and size over the past few centuries since we've been observing it. And there's some talk about whether it may disappear here in this century because it seems to be shrinking right now.
Right.
Well, I remember as a kid looking at it through my little 90mm department store scope, and it was bright red. It was very easy to spot.
Yeah, Jupiter rotates like once every 9.9 hours. I think it's almost once every 10 hours. So just in the span, I set up about 3 hours ago, and the Great Red Spot was almost transiting in the center, and now it's almost off the edge. By the end of the show, it'll be gone. So Jupiter, you can watch Jupiter rotate when it's at opposition. Well, it just passed opposition last month, but you can watch it rotate in the span of one night if you keep an eye on it in a telescope. In the span of 10 hours, it will rotate all the way around.
Well, it's really awesome. And what do you have over here, Chris?
This is from earlier on tonight before the show went live. This is the red spot about
nice.
an hour and a half ago.
Can you zoom in a little bit in your browser?
You got Europa in the shadow transit too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. I was imaging that too.
Cool.
Just need to save it. I didn't set up this right. I'll be with you in a second on this one.
Oh, very good. No pressure. Do it now. Right now.
Okay, stop. You're not Fraser.
Oh, wait. Okay. No.
Clicking as fast as my cold fingers can go.
All right, don't snap your fingers off.
If my fingers fall off, it's all your fault.
That's totally fine. And I will yell at Fraser for it.
No, I just need to screen share, apparently. Right. Here we go.
No, we're doing by Russell.
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, there we go, Chris. Oh, that's great. Yeah, so you can see the shadow there of Europa going past. A little eclipse.
Little eclipse. Such a tiny red dot, such a big shadow.
Yes.
But yeah, that was what?
That's
I suppose now,
impressive.
hour and a half ago. My scope had been recently sent off for repair, so I realised just before shooting that all the collimation was gone. So I quickly tweaked it and then shot that.
Oh, I love it. And so Sterling made a comment here that because Fraser's not here this week, we can see the red spot. When he's around, he scares it away, and that's so true. But then also, when Tom's here, we're going to see supernovae and not notice it. So, just going to put that out there real quick.
There's definitely no supernovae in Jupiter tonight.
Not tonight.
Are you sure?
We could always find an impact.
That could be TMA too, as far as I know.
So I'm going to head back over to James's view of the moon. And so, and this is how we can see it's live going on, because we're seeing the clouds going in front of it first of all, but you can see the air actually wobbling and wibbly wobbling, because Doctor Who's awesome. And hey, I got to use it in this week's Space Fan News video too. It was awesome. I was very happy with that.
And this is why you don't want to build a fire near your telescope, because the fire will heat up the air and cause it to be even more wibbly wobbly. Turns out that near the ground is where seeing is the worst, due to buildings and mountains and trees and all that stuff.
And burning children, apparently.
And burning children. Oh,
I have to keep my propane heater away from the scope, otherwise it will throw more turbulence at it.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, look at the ray patterns on Tycho.
Oh.
Just the little, on my screen, it's just up above left of center. That's the crater Tycho, and then you can see some of the rays. There we go.
Yeah, when the contrast is just right, you can really see the
So when the clouds are just crappy, you can.
Yeah.
And those are secondary impact craters from the initial impact of the crater Tycho.
That's where they found the monolith in 2001.
Exactly. Wave to Haywood Floyd.
There
we go.
That brighter material usually indicates a younger crater on the moon's surface. It actually darkens with time.
Yeah, and that's where, what is it, Surveyor 4 landed? Or
I think
in that
so.
neighborhood?
I think it was near Tycho.
Yeah.
Or I've had someone tell me it's pronounced Tico.
Tico.
But most people say Tycho that I've ever heard. But I think the correct pronunciation is Tico.
I believe it is Tycho Brahe.
Believe it is Drunken Party Man.
Yep. With no nose.
With his nose, yes. Gold, silver nose.
Hey, he liked the bling. Bling, bling. So going back to some of these questions here in the Q&A app, and actually that's another way too. You can also reach us using the Q&A app here on YouTube and Google+, where I can see the questions, and I can select them, and they are actually bookmarked in the video as they go along, which I think is really cool. So as it's jumping up, let's see here. Bob Moeller made the comment, the red spot was just about brick red in the 50s and 60s. I was not around in the 50s and 60s. I think maybe Tom is the only one that was.
So it is changing color.
Respect your elders, Scott.
Hey, yeah. I respect you, Tom. I do respect you, bro.
The most color I've ever seen in it is kind of a salmon pink, maybe about a decade or so ago.
Mm-hmm.
To me, recently it looks more kind of brownish to maybe a dark brick red.
Okay, sharing my ignorance of planetary astronomy here, do we know what causes the color changes other than certain chemicals coming up higher in the cloud, like the cloud spot?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know what the organics are in the red spot. I would imagine that, it's hydrocarbons of something or other, and as the Jupiter swings to and fro from the sun, it's probably just being photoreactive at the surface, and then you got all the other storms flying past it too.
I know once a decade or so we lose I believe the southern equatorial belt of those two main belts that you see.
Right.
That's weird. That's creepy.
I'm just going to go on a limb and say the reason why we have it is because of fluid dynamics. And
that's a good coverall.
Hey.
Yeah. Just a few years ago, we had lost that southern equatorial belt, and Jupiter only had one. That happens about once every decade or so.
Well, we had that up a couple weeks ago.
That we lost a belt?
Yeah. I forget who it was that was on there. Looking at Chris's, it's plainly obvious. It's at the top on his image.
Let's see here. Well, that Chris's
I can see it just fine-ish.
You can see the banding, yeah.
It was really weird when it was gone. because you're used to seeing pictures of Jupiter with both bands. And yet, when you look through a telescope and you only saw one, if you're used to seeing Jupiter through a telescope, it was really disconcerting. And something that obvious was
Dave's picture is a little bit clearer, but you can definitely see the banding, and
I have it straight overhead here.
Yeah, but Chris has moons, or he did.
I have two. I have two kind of twinkling in and out. You might see off to my left, your right.
Those might be stars. You got
my screen contrast is terrible.
Yeah, you got Europa and Io and a star in between the two.
Yeah, there's actually 2 6-magnitude stars in the field right now. So when you're looking at it with the eyepiece, it looks like Jupiter has 6 moons right now.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, it's a great alignment of stars and moons there.
The moons aren't quite in 1, 2, 3, 4 order right now. It's kind of interesting. After the show, they will be. Io and Europa are going to change places. Then they will be in 1, 2, 3, 4 order on one side.
Cool.
Oh, wow.
I think I've got Europa closest at the moment, and then Io's the next one along in my image. I
can kind of see it when the scene's good.
I think you got that star.
Is that the star?
Well, no, you got a star up above there, so that could be Io. I'm looking at a planetary program here, so...
Hopefully it's not supernova.
Oh, gosh.
No, it's in Jupiter. I said that there's supernova.
We have a very serious question, guys, from Paul Gracie.
Super
if
serious.
Jupiter loses its belt, does it have suspenders to keep its pants up?
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Yeah. And then we'll finally know the age-long question if Jupiter has boxers or briefs. And we don't know right now.
My question, and I've asked
I've
asked a planetary scientist this when I was writing an article about it, is why do we always lose that belt but not the other belt? And they don't quite know why. One belt seems to be permanent, and the other one seems to like to disappear once in a while. But they're not sure why that is.
It's amazing that we still don't know so much about these systems.
I know when they
weather patterns.
When they imaged Jupiter a few years ago, when it lost its belt in near infrared with Hubble, they could see the belt was actually there. It was just kind of hiding.
Yeah.
You could still see it.
So I wonder if it's just at a lower altitude, kind of like how Saturn's cloud bands are at a lower altitude below this, yellowish haze, which is why we don't see its storms.
It could just be sinking. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sunk in a little bit.
Yeah.
So we have a question here. Looks like, well, not a question. We'll say a request. We haven't seen NGC 2169 yet this year. Perhaps someone can find it. Well, sorry, Jamie. First of all, it's in Orion, which is where the moon is right now, and I don't believe we have anyone set up for any sort of DSOs. So
we are all planetary tonight.
We are all planetary tonight.
We're all in the solar system.
No deep sky objects.
Blame my $20 webcam.
But look, it's a planet. It's a freaking planet. It's awesome.
It's a failed star.
It is a it didn't try that. It didn't try very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 8. It would have to be 80 times more massive. So
yeah. It was a clump that formed around the sun. It was never going to be a star.
Right. It's just like saying I'm a failed woman because my chromosomes are the way they were. It just didn't really work out that way. I didn't try
I'm not even gonna go there.
Yeah.
I'm being actual science over here. I don't know what you image people are doing.
Oh my goodness.
We also.
So where is Jupiter in the sky for people? Because you can walk outside your backyard now, assuming you don't have clouds, and take a look.
It's in the constellation Gemini right now, and when right at sunset, it's one of the first things you'll notice off to the east. It's the brightest object in the east, high in the east right now at sunset.
Yeah. So when you go out to your car at night and say, "What's that bright thing?" Chances are you're looking at Jupiter this time.
And the moon is only about 12 degrees away, so tomorrow night the moon is going to be very close to Jupiter. It's not going to quite occult it or anything, but it's going to be within a few degrees of it tomorrow night.
Enough that you get people going, "What's that bright thing next to the moon?"
Next to the moon, yeah.
Yeah.
I have actually managed to see Jupiter in the daytime near the moon. It is possible. It's easier to see with binoculars than the naked eye, but it is possible to see it.
Because you have a point of reference. Because you have the moon as a point of reference.
Right.
Same as Venus. Venus is a little easier to see in the daytime in that regard. If you've got it near the moon, it's kind of actually Venus is very easy to see in the daytime.
We have a question about an actual serious question about the band. Is the disappearing band seasonal? Does it correspond to Jupiter's orbit?
And that is a fantastic question.
You know, it's not that far off, but it's roughly, I say 10 years. Sometimes it's 9, sometimes it's 11. But Jupiter's orbit's about 11 years, so it's
close to.
It's roughly close to it, not exact. We can't really say it's going to disappear now, like this year, because it did it 11 years ago. It seems to. I'd have to look back at the years, but I seem to remember it spanning anywhere from 7 to 13 or 14 years, average 10 to 11 years.
I also wonder too if it has anything to do with tidal forces. Just dealing with its satellites.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's not going to be
know.
anything crazy like we do here with our moon, just because the relative mass there. But I'm sure they have some sort of play on the movement of matter on the surface.
I once came across a paper, and I take this for what it's worth. I was like, I don't see how this would work, but somebody was trying to connect the orbit of Jupiter with the solar cycle, just saying that Jupiter orbits 11 years and the sun cycle is 11 years. And I was like, well, but I don't know how you would connect those.
I don't. Yeah,
I think it's
solar
just a
dynamics
coincidence.
are freaking awesome. I don't think they have anything to do with
Jupiter
Jupiter.
torquing it somehow, but I was like,
Jupiter
I don't
doesn't
see the
twerk. It is
mechanism.
not
I can
highly
see them making the argument because Jupiter has strong magnetic fields and it's the flip of the sun's magnetic field. Like I could see the jump, but the physics doesn't make the jump with you.
I think it's a matter of you could probably find some object in the solar system that would fit the span just by coincidence.
Right.
What's going on, but it was interesting.
But that's what science is for, because we can see why that's a way to jump, and we can learn more about all the things. All the things. So I'm going to jump back over to James real quick so we can look at our moon. Now it seems like we've got the clouds at least playing nice now.
Yeah, I'm about to switch back to my zoomed view here.
Yeah. In
addition to you two and hopefully the Jade Rabbit, we still have the Laddie mission orbiting the moon, so that is the
Laddie got extended, matter of fact.
Lunar Atmosphere Dust Environment Explorer. Yes, so they got extended, I think, another month. For that mission, and then at the end of its mission, which is now I think slated for late April, they're gonna crash it into the surface. Which I'm hoping they'll do it when LRO, the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter, is in position to photograph it.
That would be great.
That would be,
So we've got LRO and Laddie still in orbit.
LRO imaged Laddie last week, I believe it was. They released that image. That was kind of cool. In orbit, one satellite imaging another. Yeah,
it was a blur. And then
they caught it.
He smooshed the blur so that you could actually see features of the spacecraft. It was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Oh, and they grab the clouds again.
Clouds?
So that's 3 active missions.
Yeah.
Currently studying the moon, unless I'm missing a fourth.
And three passive. There's still 3 passive missions going on too. Got all the laser reflectors.
Oh, there you go. That's true.
They're still up there.
Yep. I hang out over on Yahoo Answers Astronomy and Space section, so I get that question a lot. So I refer them to the Apollo site where they do the ranging and all that. So it's rather an interesting way how they do that. Just real briefly, they can send out like 1 million photons towards the moon and expect to get 10 back.
Wow.
And they're still able to get a good measurement off of that.
This is using the 3.5 meter at Apache Point in Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think it's Apache Point, yeah.
It was featured on Mythbusters, but I also learned that when I visited there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting process. You know, they found the 2 Lunokhod Russian rovers that are still up there, and they were able to get us. Yeah, they got a signal off of them,
that's cool.
The 3 retroreflectors left by Apollo.
The moon is receding from us. I think it's 2.5 centimeters a year. It's moving away.
Yeah,
about the same rate as my hair.
Yeah.
That's about right.
Did you know at the current rate of recession, the total solar eclipses won't occur? I think it's in 600 million years from now that the moon will actually be far enough away that total solar eclipses will no longer occur.
Really?
Get your eclipses now!
Get it while they last, kids.
You know, I hear that argument sometimes from creationists. I've got that before, as they say, well, the reason that the fact that we have total solar eclipses is one of the reasons that that points toward an ultimate design. It's like, well, but that's only in our epoch right now. We're not going to have them forever.
That makes my brain hurt.
They didn't occur before.
Yeah. You can go the other way too, and you can go back in time and say there had to have been a point, since the moon is moving away from us, that annular eclipses somewhere way back, like 1 billion years or so ago, probably the first annular eclipse that occurred.
Mm-hmm.
So but I've heard people say it's too perfect to be coincidence. I'm like, yeah, but it's only in time and space right now. We just happen to be observing it. We're lucky that we can see them right now.
Right.
Grab the TARDIS.
Yeah.
So wait, 1 billion years ago there was a real supermoon.
Yes,
Whoa.
The moon was much closer to us. In that rate of
It wasn't
recession.
super because it was all the time.
Yeah.
That 2.5 centimeters a year wasn't constant either. It was receding from us when it was closer. It was receding faster. Mm-hmm.
So we have a request here too from Douglas Friday. That Uranus is in Pisces right now, about a magnitude 6.2. Is anyone able to get that?
Yeah, I think it's below the horizon for me now. Yeah.
Is it? Sorry, Doug or Douglas. Don't want to mess up your name, but I don't think we're going to be able to get it tonight.
No, it's behind a house here.
Well, you can tear that down. Those are movable. Horizons are not. So
well, you can excavate.
Start walking.
We're not that. We're so mean to Chris that's out there at 3 a.m. in the UK. And we're like, tear down houses. No,
Get moving.
Yeah.
Fine, I'll wake him up and get a sledgehammer out. Give us 10 minutes.
Very good. See?
I like that can-do attitude.
That's right.
In the meantime, I've got a planet, a freaking planet, 3 moons, and a star in the background.
Right.
There we go.
You do have the background star, yeah.
Not impressed.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Yeah, he's turned the contrast way up so we can see them.
Yeah.
Well, that could be a supernova. I mean, it's pretty bright.
It could be. You know what? It is bright. And it's gotten brighter since we started.
No comment.
So, those of you not in on this joke, actually, Tom, would you like to share with us what this is all about?
Oh, yes.
Since you have become the tuchus of this joke.
Yes. What was it? About 3-4 weeks ago, a small supernova, not small, but a supernova went off.
One of those tiny supernovas we know about.
It was awesome!
It was awesome. And I forget the gentleman who imaged it, but very nice capture, and we were all oohing and aahing, and I was carrying on saying, "Oh yeah, M82 is an active galaxy, but I don't really know it well for producing supernova." And here's this big blob in the middle of the galaxy.
There's an active supernova happening at
that time, yes. And
that has not officially been discovered at the point that he's saying it. They could have been hey, that's weird, and been the discoverers.
Yeah.
So,
we got beat out by some astronomy students, so.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Good for them. Yes, it is really cool that in a class project they got to discover supernova.
I told you in a Sky and Telescope forum I saw after that, it's like, did you see these guys in this virtual star party that actually was looking at the supernova at the time?
Like, yeah, not those.
That was us.
Yeah,
no, it was us.
Yeah.
So to be fair, Tom, you were talking about it having a ridiculous star formation rate in which you would expect to see a Type 2 or a core collapse supernova. And what we actually saw was a white dwarf supernova, which is not what we would expect to be the one that we'd be seeing in M82. Yep. So to be fair, you were talking about a different kind of supernova.
This is the VSP. We are not about being fair here.
I'm just saying.
Well, and also, I was explaining to somebody else, is that chance favors the prepared mind. And we were looking at this, and we were not prepared to look for supernova.
No. Well, and if anyone knows us at the Virtual Star Party, we are always prepared. Always. For any
I used to be a scoutmaster.
See, Nicole, we needed your expertise that night.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I wouldn't have seen it either. I'm a radio astronomer. Remember, I don't know what these things look like with my eyes.
More than 1 pixel, what do I do?
Yeah, I know, right? Why aren't there any spectra?
Well, I know hunting for comets sometimes too is you don't want to be the one that cries wolf too many times, because then people start looking at you and kind of thinking it's like you don't. Before I report something as a possible comet or supernova, I want to be really sure that what I'm looking at is I'm not just looking at a foreground star or a nebula that somebody's already discovered or a comet that somebody's already reported on.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you look kind of goofy in the scientific community.
But we're the people who would know to look at Astronomers Telegram and to look. We would know the places to look.
Yeah.
It could have been done.
Could have.
Yeah. We're not just going to be like on Twitter like, hey guys! We would actually know what the channels were to go through.
That's true. But it was a fun evening, after the fact, it was interesting to go back and look at it, and it was just like, plain as day.
Yeah. Blinky, blinky, blinky.
We need somebody to sit and vet everything as we're imaging it now.
Somebody who really knows all these objects well.
So if there's a grad student that doesn't like getting paid that wants to go through all of our videos of all time,
there is grad students who don't like getting paid anyway.
That does raise the interesting possibility of things we might have missed that we
absolutely.
I'm sure.
I smell citizen science project.
Yeah. Who wants to go through frame by frame all of the VSPs for the last 2 years?
Oh my goodness!
Because we've been doing this for over 2 years now.
I guess at some point you could put together a transcription project, I guess.
Yeah.
Somebody asked, and I lost track of the comment. When's the next space mission to Jupiter? When's the next spacecraft on to Jupiter?
Juno is going to arrive in 2016.
There you go.
Which is awesome.
Already on its way.
En route.
It's been up for 875 days according to the mission clock. So.
That'll only be the second time we've orbited Jupiter. We've sent New Horizons went by, both Pioneers, both Voyagers. Cassini went by.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this will be the second one. I don't know what the next one that's going to go to the launch pad. Probably, I know there's talk about doing like Europa missions and things like that, but those are those are like over a decade away.
Is ESA given Juice the green light? I think
they have.
Okay.
I think you're right. I think
that
they have.
would be the next one.
I think that's
I just
not
love the
leaving till
acronym is JUICE.
I don't think that's going till like 2020 or something like that. Though. It's way out there.
But it will focus on the Galilean moons as well as Jupiter itself.
Yeah, it's kind of disparaging to think that there's not a lot of missions going to the outer solar system next few years. We may lose our eyes in the outer solar system here within the next decade.
Right, and that's terrifying when you think about it. Because once you lose it, it's going to be really hard to get that momentum back up.
I
think another mission out there.
Cassini at Saturn is shutting down in 2017. I believe they're going to deorbit it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Juno's only going to go for a couple of years. Then New Horizons does its thing at Pluto. Then after that, we have no outer solar system missions.
Yeah. And with NASA shutting down NASA shutting down its nuclear program for its power generators.
They're producing new plutonium, but they shut down the advanced Sterling RTGs. The new RTGs are not developing those.
Oh, is that what that was? Okay.
Yeah. But they are making more plutonium, but that's a long involved pipeline. So they do have a little bit the plutonium we used on Curiosity we actually bought from the Russians. I was surprised to find that out.
Are you sure about? So because I believe they're processed at INL.
Yeah, they are processing it.
Right. So INL is Idaho National Labs, which is a nuclear site out there. But I didn't know that we bought it from the Russians. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
The stuff for Curiosity we bought from the Russians, but we just restarted the pipeline again to make.
Yeah, the Russian stuff actually came out of their nuclear weapon program.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I love that we are fueling space robots with nuclear weapons. That is so cool.
Well, and also
and killing people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Much better.
And they're recycling ICBMs as launch vehicles for suborbitals.
Mm-hmm. That's cool.
Not SpaceX. What's the other one that goes out of Wallops Island? they've used a couple of old ICBMs repurposed.
You know, I'm not certain if that was the weaponized plutonium, because I know what they use for spacecraft and what they use for weapons. It's plutonium 238 and 230. They're different isotopes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
So, but I know we did get it from the Russians. I know what you put in a nuclear weapon is not the same isotope.
Not the same. Yeah, that's right.
in a
That's right.
spacecraft. But before someone comments and corrects me. So.
Yeah.
David, someone was wrong on the internet.
Oh my
Well,
God.
let's give some good information out real quick here. I've got a question. Let me find it because it has dropped down. But for somebody looking at getting, here we go. It is by Jim Meeker here. It said, what's the camera telescope store that sometimes is mentioned on here? Thinking of getting a new scope soon. So I don't think we have a specific one we mentioned, but there's quite a few places where you can look at getting some hardware. What do you guys think?
Orion would probably be the biggest. That's probably the one that gets mentioned the most. There's also Sterizona, OPT, Oceanside Photo and Telescopes, Anacortes, Hands-On Optics. I've done a little bit of work with them. Yeah, there's quite a few, but Orion's probably the largest. You know, they do a whole bunch of importing.
Yeah, Orion's pretty good.
Yeah, I have very few complaints about Orion's equipment.
And how is just you go to Orion, you just search for it, or how can we direct Mr. Meeker here?
Telescope.com is their website.
Right.
And I would strongly suggest, I wish I had the book sitting here, getting a book by Terrence Dickinson called Night Watch.
I love that book. I have it in my office. Yeah.
Yes, it's a great introductory guide to the hobby of astronomy. It also has a really, really nice chapter on how to choose the telescope that's best suited for you. By budget, what you want to do with the scope, and everything like that. But Night Watch is a great book to start off with before you buy a telescope.
Yeah.
The other suggestion would be, before you buy a telescope, if at all possible, see if you can find an astronomy club in your location. You'll have to do an internet search for your whatever city you're in, and say astronomy or astronomy club, and you should be able to come up with something on that.
Night Sky Network is another good website for finding astronomy clubs near you.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name when I was talking that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cloudy Nights also has a classified section.
Yep.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I got a Night Sky Network pin.
And Craigslist, of course. I mean, there's so many places you can get a good scope.
I'm actually selling a telescope.
Star.
Aww.
Night Sky Network Star.
Ah.
I got a pin. I'm very proud. I signed up I run the public observing at our university, and so I signed up us and my other volunteers as a group on Night Sky Network so we could get educational stuff. And so they sent pins. I was very excited. So, great site. Very, very good place for educational resources for astronomers. We have a question about the Pinwheel Galaxy. Sorry, don't think we have anyone who can image deep sky objects tonight, Shane.
Not tonight.
So we are an all-planetary show tonight.
And what we have up there now is the big round one is the crater Plato. On the moon there.
That's what we're looking at, yep.
Yep, and just above that, towards the top of the screen there, that's the Alpine Valley. That's one of my favorite objects to look at.
Sounds like a great place to go moon skiing at.
Oh, yeah. It's a fault block valley. People used to think it was a meteor came through and grazed the surface of the moon and caused it, but once they had the lunar orbiters up there and better imaging, what happened was that the moon, as it cooled, it literally cracked. That little piece there sunk down, and whatever lava that was in there, there's a little tiny rill, or basically a lava tube, that goes through there, drained out that whole region in there. It's quite an interesting little spot.
Lava tube.
Lava tubes. Yeah, we got a lot of them over here.
Where?
I'm in Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got Central Oregon has
lava
lots and lots
tubes.
of lava tubes. They actually had the Apollo astronauts over here doing training on a couple of lava fields over here.
That's cool.
Yeah.
How'd they get sound stages out there though? That's
The what?
Oh, stop.
Just kidding. We landed on the moon. We landed on the moon.
Oh, goodness.
Thanks
So
to
I
standard
am
humor.
Hey, we're on
redoing-
YouTube, so I got to play into it a little bit. I got to pander to an audience somewhere.
Pander to
all
the
right?
audience. I'm redoing the layout of the Planetary Surface Features Glossary on CosmoQuest that was written by Irene Antonenko. She's one of the PIs for the Moon Mappers project. And yeah, I'm relearning all of this vocabulary. I originally came across lava tubes, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, when that is newly WordPressified, I will share that out so you can explore it.
WordPressified. Okay.
WordPressified. That's been my job all week.
So switch over to Chris's view. What are we looking at, Chris?
This is
Planet.
Clavitus,
Ooh.
which is location of secret NSA moon base and aliens, obviously.
What about the Nazis? Where are the Nazis on the moon?
They're to the
They're
left.
on the other side. They're on the
They're on the
other side.
other side. Okay.
Yeah.
I see.
I only saw that movie once.
So, but is that Jimmy Hoffa down there? I think I see Jimmy Hoffa. Yeah, I think that is him. Cool. Okay, everyone can put that to rest. Teamsters got that taken care of.
Teamsters on the moon.
That's right. Well, I'm
Kind
a
of reminds
bad
me of the
person.
Ghost Rider logo. a little bit.
Yeah, it does. Ghost Rider.
Yeah. So I was talking about that on Twitter, and somebody was like, "I remember Ghost Rider. Nobody else remembers it." I'm like, "I do."
Oh man,
God, yeah, that's been
my
a long
80s are
time for me.
showing.
Yeah.
Or
No
as
idea.
Brian Lefkowitz comments, a total eclipse of the heart.
I was waiting for you to get to that one.
Jeez.
I was waiting for a great moment for it, and I figured if I'm singing, I might as well go for it. Because we have 10 minutes left, and I'll totally joke around.
Cold space nerd.
Very cold. My toes. I don't think I've got toes anymore.
They're overrated.
Oh goodness! You don't have the little hot hands in your toes?
They don't have those in the UK. Jeez, what's with your US privilege over here, Nicole?
If they have it on Amazon, you can get it anywhere.
Oh man.
I
We're so
got
bad.
a giant. I got a box of hot hands for Christmas from my mother.
Nice.
For my astronomizing.
Are
It
they?
was on my
What-
wish list. It was on my
Oh,
wish list.
they're chemical hand warmers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pull
Yep,
them out,
yep.
Nicole.
There you
That way
go.
they're-
So we're free advertising.
yeah, and you just
You put
are
them in
these
the-
ones that you just break and shake a little bit, or
Yeah, you seal the pack. You break the package, and the exposure to air starts it warming. And it's good for a little over an hour and a half. So.
Yeah. Yeah, you just slip them down inside your
I put them in my
shake
boots. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it beats throwing another kid on the fire, I guess.
Exactly. Because that interferes with your seeing.
It does. Oh,
Yes,
man.
I had an instructor that did fisheries work, and she said she put
I
them-
thought you were about to say
put
that
'em
you had an
down
instructor that did burn children. Like, wow, you are old. Man.
Oh my god.
All bets
we're
are off
bad.
tonight. We've got a lot of viewers, and I'm
I
hamming
wanted
it
to
up.
hear the rest of that story.
What story?
What? Oh, the instructor in the fisheries and all that, or something else?
Yeah.
Oh,
yes,
no,
yes, not the burning children.
no, she worked for fisheries, Fish and Wildlife, and she doing fish counts and everything like that. So she was wearing her hip waders and all that, and she would pour
my God.
a box of these chemical heaters down in her legs, just so her legs wouldn't freeze while in the
Oh
work.
my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, she was quite the character.
So we're closing in on 10 minutes left here. I'm going to do a quick run through any more comments, and I will try to hit as many as I can that are. Let's see here. Jesus Hernandez. Yes, we are live. So hi, we're live.
Rude, crude, and socially unacceptable.
That's right. That's what we do. See, Jupiter pick. Shadow was caused by the satellite to the right, Europa. Yes, I believe that was Europa. So
Yes, it was. We're actually approaching quadrature where the shadows are getting cast off to the side now, as opposed to opposition when they're cast straight back. So looks kind of cool. So you can actually see the moon off the disk of Jupiter, casting its shadow back onto Jupiter.
That's cool.
You know, I can actually tell which moon it is by the size of the shadow. If you watch them a lot, the shadows aren't the same size. Callisto, the furthest one out, actually has a big diffuse shadow, and Io and Europa have these smaller black dot. You notice it when there's a double shadow transit. You're like, oh, the two shadows are not the same size. They're not. It's based on how far away.
Oh, David, you never.
All right, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Awesome. I would never. That's so cool. No, I think it's great.
Let's see, Douglas
The more
Friday.
you observe something, the more you learn.
He comments here, I read once at 1969 we had the technical capability to land on the moon, but we lacked the capability to fake a landing on the moon. Yes. I've seen those reports too. That yes, we obviously could get to the moon, but we could not actually fake it.
It was Stanley Kubrick. They just hushed him up.
Yeah.
That's the rumor you always hear.
Yeah. The rumor I heard was that's why Stanley Kubrick made his the Stephen King movie. Just evaporated out of my brain. The Shining. Yeah, made The Shining because he had all these obtuse references to the Apollo program within The Shining.
Oh, of course.
Yes.
It wasn't about a crazy person with an axe.
No.
No. Okay.
We have a question back on the event page from Cyrus Capadia. Does anyone have a source where one can procure a good paper moon map?
It's a great
Not digital,
question.
but an actual paper moon map.
I do not.
National Geographic used to have a really good one, really, wall-sized. I don't know if they still have it or not.
I can't remember who made the one that was in our lab at University of Virginia. We had one, and it was in a frame, but I know it may have been the National Geographic one.
Yeah. Also, the Lunar Planetary Institute, LPI, they might have one. I know they got them online.
Which is now being renamed Survey. I can't remember what that stands for. Yeah, I may be wrong. Hang on.
I have one out of
David's here. Yeah.
I have one out of Sky and Telescope I printed just for quick reference. No, not quite free, but I just printed it off. So, and there's the Phases of the Moon app I've heard about. That's
yes.
He said not digital.
Oh, not digital.
Yeah, well, so what you do is you take your Face of the Moon app, put it into the copy machine, and run it.
For books, one of the best ones is the Ruckel moon map that's out of print, so it'd be a little expensive to find one that's even used, probably. But Ruckel would have a good one.
Norton's? Does Norton? I have a copy of Norton somewhere. Does that have a moon map in it?
I don't know. No, Norton. Well, if it did, it's
it's low res. Yeah,
low res, not that detailed. But Ruckel is really good. The book I really enjoy reading, but it's more technical, is was it James Wood's personal guide to the moon, where he, instead of breaking the moon up into grids, he takes the moon and breaks it up into regions and explores each region of the moon.
Okay.
That's really cool.
And of course, there are the U.S. Geological Survey maps of the moon, which are available. It may not be as useful for naming craters or anything, but they did do geological survey of the moon for the Apollo program.
Yeah, the USGS site online is pretty extensive if you want to know like every little 1 kilometer crater that's out there.
Hey, some of us do.
See, Douglas Friday, Night Watch is the first book that is both a hardcover yet lays completely flat. Your public library likely also has copies of it.
Somebody in our science building move at the university, people were giving away boxes of books that they didn't want to move, and there was literally sitting right outside my office a box with 3 copies of Night Watch just sitting there. I was like, oh my god, mine!
Oh.
Wow. I mean, it was an older edition. It's probably the edition I used as a kid, but yeah, so a bunch of us in the office all got
it's
a copy.
a great reference guide.
So
I give them out as presents.
I've got a question here from Scott Chapman, and I'm going to field this one over to Nicole. So are craters always round? We've seen images of asteroids, etc., that are not spherical. So
That's a
tell
good
us,
question.
Miss CosmoQuest over there, about craters on the moon.
You can't tell. My name is all...
Are you Patrick
Pixelated.
Stewart?
Yeah, I'm trying to be Patrick Stewart now. It's so pixelated anyway. Yeah, so craters. Craters are mostly circular, and I think that has to do with the energy of the impact. Is so much greater. The energy of the impact is so high, it really doesn't matter what shape your object is coming in to hit it. If it is particularly, if it's something that's breaking into pieces, you may get a chain of craters, and that would be one way. There are very few elliptical craters. You have to really had a glancing blow. Again, it doesn't matter the original shape of the object, but you can get an elliptical crater from a glancing blow. They're rare, but they are seen on the moon. So elliptical, maybe, but most of them are circular. Just that impact energy comes out from the center.
That is awesome. Thank you for the great question, Scott.
If David could get into Messier A and B on the moon, that would be a great example.
That's the elliptical one, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. My drive motor just died, so
Oh.
I might be able to like glide over it.
And it looks like James has clouded out, but Chris has Mars, so I think we're going to end.
Mars.
I'm actually getting Orion right now.
Is that
doing.
Really?
Oh.
For the other moon book, lost my mouse cursor. Other moon book I was talking about, that is Charles Wood's The Modern Moon: A Personal View. That's a really nice reference book for lunar stuff. Charles Wood was was one of the geologists on the Apollo program.
Okay. So going through any more comments here, we have a bunch, and I'm sorry I'm not going to be able to get to all of them tonight. Yeah, Jim Meeker. So there's a black dot on the moon. Is that a supernova?
A black hole.
Yep. Might be a mini black
never
hole.
living that one down.
Nope.
Wah, wah.
Wah wah.
All right.
Nice shot of Orion. Good place to wind up.
Oh, pretty.
Oh, there you go. So there is the Orion Nebula. And how is that not being blown out by the moon? I mean, it is pretty bright.
It's really bright.
Yeah, I've still got my
some.
ISO setting at like 25,000, so I'm trying to adjust my settings quickly here. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Lowered the ISO quite a bit. I've got it at 5
Oh, you got the
5 seconds.
trapezium.
The moon is about 30 degrees away.
Wow! There you go.
And that's just within,
nice one with the trapezium.
I'm going to try
Good color.
a little bit longer exposure here.
Yeah.
And see what I can get. Keep in mind I'm in alt-azimuth mount, so I can't really do too much without...
So this is not a live view. This is an LRO image. I think this is an LRO image. I'm attempting to screen share.
Oh, there we go.
On Messier. Yeah.
Yes, this is one of the famous elliptical craters on the moon, Messier and Messier A. So this again is from one impact. It kind of skipped and bounded out and created a second one. Pretty rare, but it's pretty cool. That's the only thing you're going to get non-circular out of a fresh crater. Of course, over time, as it erodes, it can get deformed.
Right.
Yeah.
So there's your elliptical crater in our current surface features glossary on CosmoQuest.
And then see, Larry Maka just commented, says he just ordered a laminated moon map through Sky and Telescope for about $7. So that is a great deal.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's great for binocular work. If you have like a pair of 7x50s or something like that, binoculars, perfect for that. If you're using a telescope, then the scale starts to break down. You won't find the finer details on that.
Well, I know that
there's another one from Brenda Shaw. How detailed do we want? Royal Astronomical Society of Canada has a lunar observing certificate program with a downloadable guide that includes beginner level maps. So you can. She's got the link there on the event page where you can check that out as well.
Yeah, Rascal's good. I used to be a Rascal for quite a long time.
Rascal.
Yeah. No, you can be a member at large of RASC here in the U.S. I was one for several years.
Cool.
And good group of people.
Somebody's slewing.
Yeah, someone is.
That one's slewing.
All right. Well, It is that time, so I'm going to wrap it up here tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I'm going to go through it again. Chris, sir, thank you for braving that balmy weather over there in the UK.
It's beautifully warm.
Yes.
Multiple hoodie.
Yes.
You have nested hoods.
I have nested hoods, coat, and everything.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your view of Mars, Jupiter, and the Moon. We really appreciate it.
No worries.
David.
Good.
Yay.
Thank you for breaking your scope for us.
It just takes a battery change, but luckily it held on for the last 5 minutes or so.
Oh, that's good.
The battery finally died.
You just said it died. I'm like, oh, okay.
No, it's the 9-volt battery in the drive just went kaput. So
the woofer's going.
Oh, it's the dog next door. He's a good dog.
But yeah, if they're in the basement, then they're subwoofers. But I don't
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're right. I'm on.
It is that time.
Go home. Go home, you're drunk.
All right.
Yeah, he is home. That's the problem.
James, thank you. Thank you very much for showing up and everything out there. We really appreciate you helping out. Mr. Tom Nathe.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for the color commentary, as usual.
I try to be colorful.
Yes, you do. And noisy. Patrick Stewart.
Yay!
Patricia Stewart.
CosmoQuest. We don't have Patrick Stewart.
No.
Come over to CosmoQuest and you can help map these very circular and less circular craters with us on the Moon and Mercury and Vesta. And we are working on all new science content pages. Same content, but prettier layout, so you'll be able to navigate a little bit easier. Really proud of that work. My WordPressifying of the week. But yeah, come CosmoQuest and do science with us. It's awesome.
Awesome. Well, I'm Scott Lewis. Thank you very much. We will be back next week. What do you have going on this week, Nicole? What's broadcasting?
Let's see. Monday at noon is Astronomy Cast with Fraser and Pamela. On Wednesday, we are talking with the one of the founders of Pocket Cube on Learning Space. So Learning Space is our educational hangout. We'll be talking with, actually, I think it'll be just me. My co-host is at Georgia Bracey's at a conference. We'll be talking with one of the creators of Pocket Cube, which is a very small, somewhat affordable, so as in car price affordable satellite system. And then Friday, we're back around to the weekly space hangout. So you'll get your news from us then.
Very good. Well, and I'll have a new episode of Space Fan News up on Friday morning, and then we'll have the weekly Space Hangout again at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, and then we'll be having our Space Fan News live at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern to cover our latest episode. So all space things this week, and then next week, Sunday. It should be the same time. I don't anticipate we're changing it for another few weeks. So same time, Virtual Star Party. So thank you all for watching, for your great comments, for your tweets. I saw the tweets out there. So thank you, Destruction Channel, I think is what it was. Yes, Destruction Channel. Cool. Thanks for all the tweets out. We will see you all later. Bye, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Because you want to do something.
That's their job.
But yeah, just looking at the moon through my this is just a Nexstar 6SE Celestron telescope and a Canon 6D attached to it.
Very nice. So where are you from, James?
Huntsville, Alabama.
Huntsville, Alabama. Is a little bit is a little warmer than the rest of us here tonight, right?
I don't know. It's probably about 35, I think, here.
35. Wow.
It's above freezing. Yeah,
it
you're
is
fine.
above freezing. Yeah. I guess I'm the only privileged one here tonight in Los Angeles. I'm complaining because it's 16 Celsius out.
Oh, shut up.
-4 here right now.
Oh, man.
I
So,
had
David,
to cancel my first viewing of the semester because it was so damn cold. I didn't want my visitors to get frostbite, so
why not?
yay, winter.
Fine.
Yeah.
That's part of the charm of astronomy.
I know, but people bring little children, so, you know.
Just throw them on the fire. Oh.
We do not
we're
need the
talking.
children's in the VSP.
I shouldn't have said that. My apologies. I was a bad boy.
Tom,
It wasn't me this time.
I know. I mean, Nicole and I are bad enough when it comes to being completely off topic and
Not to mention the fire would make the scene worse for your
It would.
telescope. Because
It would. So think of the
all
scene.
hot air.
Don't think of the
It's
children.
not about the children, it's about
Right.
the scene that you're destroying.
Oh, somebody think of the scene.
Yes, exactly. So back to astronomy real quick, as James's view of the moon is going away. David mentioned something earlier before we went live about the moon that was really interesting, and I thought it was awesome.
Oh, the moon happens to be...
Because we have David Dickinson in the slightly warmer area, but not too much tonight.
Yeah, not too bad. I have my hairdryer ready.
Hey.
Nice.
So do I. I've got to really tease this.
And I have my... I think you can see my heater running back here, so it's a little cool here, not chilly, but...
Very good. We also have James, the evil-looking Blair Witch Project.
Yes. Yes.
That's creepy, James. Hi, James. And we're going off camera. Also, we have Tom Nathe. How you doing, Tom?
Oh, thawing out finally.
Are you ready to be serious?
Oh, I'm always serious.
Always serious.
Yeah,
always. Like the dog star.
Yes.
Very good. Awesome. So I will let everyone know you can reach us many different ways. Please give us some comments, questions, requests on the Google Plus. I have another monitor up right here for Google Plus event page. Also, leave questions on YouTube. Nicole is checking those out. We're also on Twitter at _VSP, and there's a Facebook page as well that I have this up on. But really, what are you doing over there? Come join us because it's Facebook. So. Hey,
We're not elitist at all here.
At all. I put on Facebook because I have to. So I'm going to head over to David, and what are we looking at, David?
Oh, we're looking at a blurry view of Jupiter right now. I think the dew is getting the better of my telescope right now. I may have to clear it off.
We'll make it a don't and clear it up.
Yeah, I'll mute real quick so you don't have to hear the hairdryer.
Awesome. So you do that. I'm going to hop on over to Chris because Chris has something really cool. We have Mars.
Oh!
It's Mars.
Oh my goodness.
It's a red fuzzy blob that's bouncing around on the screen.
Oh!
So, what time is it over there? It is, what, 2:30?
2:30? Yeah, it's 2:30 in the morning. Coming at you from the future.
From the future, with Mars in the future. So, what telescope are you using there, Chris?
An 8-inch Schmidt-Cassegrain telescope with my 2x Barlow on the back of it. So it's got a decent focal length on it, but in shooting through clouds, so no amount of zooms are going to fix that.
Yeah, Mars reaches opposition on April 8th, so it's going to be its best viewing for 2014 here this spring.
And if you guys can, hang around for the next 2.5 hours, I can give you Saturn really early.
I'm not that much of a trooper, but
Prezi.
you can do it. Alex, we're really excited for Saturn to come around.
Wow.
This opposition to Mars isn't the greatest, but it's getting better every 26 months or so. Mars comes into opposition, and the opposition in 2016 is going to be better, and the one in 2018 is going to be nearly as good as. Remember the one in 2003? That was the best opposition in 50,000 years. That kept going around the news.
Yeah, it was as big as the moon.
Yeah.
I know.
That's every August now.
Yeah.
Super Mars.
Oh no! Don't. We are not doing Super Mars.
It's coming. So
I'm feeling a Photoshop there.
Then we need to also coin Mini Mars, and we'll be fine with it, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna hop on over to James's view, real quick. Oh, nice. So what are we looking at?
It's amazing that right when the broadcast started, the clouds come in, of course.
Well, yeah. All right. Hi, everyone.
Hands.
We're here. This is your virtual start party for the 9th of February, 2014. I'm your host, Scott Lewis. Fraser Cain is off fighting crime in Canada. No, he's got a flight going out. So he's going, I believe, to see Brian Brushwood in Austin. So, hello, Shwood. Give him some beers and give him free tuition to Scam School.
Go to Salt Lake.
Yes.
Go to Salt Lake.
Gay.
Salt Lake.
Salt Lake. Just say that more. Say it.
What?
Camera's on you. Say it.
Salt Lake! I
Yay.
love that place. Anyway.
So we're going to be completely professional and not silly at all tonight because whenever Nicole and I are together, it's always serious business. So if you guys have never seen our show before, what we do is we get astronomers from across the world, and we hook up telescopes to their cameras, whether it be webcam or even higher quality professional cameras, and we stream them live into Hanging on Air. And we have with us Nicole Gallucci, which is our PhD astronomer. We'll be helping explain the science behind all the beautiful images that we are looking at. Joining us, and then we'll be going through here, Chris is one of our astronomers. Hey, Chris, how you doing?
Morning. How you doing, Internet?
Yeah, you're from the UK, right?
Yeah, the accent kind of gives it away.
Well, hey, you
And
can
the good morning.
And the good morning bit.
Yeah, it's going to be early there.
So whereabouts are you?
In sunny Mansfield, -3 degrees and freezing my bits off.
Freeze that collimator off. Gotcha. All right. Next with
Be in the non-zodiacal constellation of Orion tonight, which is kind of weird. There's actually six. There's actually 6 non-zodiacal constellations the moon can cross through, and let's see if I can remember it. It's Auriga, Orion, Ophiuchus, Crater, Corvus, and I believe Scutum is the other one that the moon
Isn't
can.
Ophiuchus zodiac really in the zodiac now?
It's along the ecliptic, but it's not one of the
Yeah.
12. It's not one of the 12 constellations
The
of
evil 13.
Along the ecliptic. Let's.
The ecliptic, the sun passes through 13. So, but the moon, the tilt of the moon's orbit is 5 degrees relative to the ecliptic, so it can wander about 10 times its diameter away. So it can wander into Orion occasionally. So I think that's kind of cool that it's.
So that's the plane of the Earth going around the sun, and then the moon's orbit's going to be.
Those are cards. That's not a plane.
5 degrees. Shut up. It's going to be off by 5 degrees, which I can't quite do 5 degrees because it is quite small, but.
Right.
I'll
But when
try,
we're
this
talking
is
about
exaggerated.
distances like the moon, we're talking
Right.
quite a big distance there.
Yeah.
Sextans is the other constellation I just remembered that it can be in as well. That's not on the ecliptic, but the moon can pass through it.
That's pretty far southern, isn't it?
It's just south of Leo, constellation
Okay.
Leo. It can nick like the corner of Sextans.
Okay.
Weird stuff that's in my brain.
David has a lot of stuff in his brain.
That's
I
okay.
have my moon map up, and the area that we're looking at is part of the Clavius and Tycho region, the southern pole of the moon.
Oh, very cool.
Awesome.
I noticed that the area that the U2 rover is in, the Bay of Rainbows up there, is just getting sunlight again. The sun is rising there again tonight.
Oh, the
Yeah.
Jade Rabbit?